Ladies and gentlemen, you have locked into Rap Life. We're gonna talk to Low Key, we're gonna talk to Nadeska. What are the most important conversations that are going on in hip hop right now, as well as run through some of the hottest songs on the playlist. So y'all keep it locked right here. This is Rap Life. This Khaled album, his 12th studio album, a favorite topic of both Nadeska and Low. So let's start there with the Khaled album. You guys have been very critical of the Khaled rollouts. Were you a fan of this Khaled album rollout? Let's start with you, Nadeska.
I will go on a record to say that I personally have been a little bit underwhelmed by the magnitude of the Khaled rollouts the past couple albums. Of course, it's always a very big deal. I just feel like it's gotten a little bit played out. But I will say, I'm not going to be a hypocrite. In this case, I would say that having Jay-Z and Nas on that Sorry Not Sorry record was a moment of Khaled out-Khaleding himself. I don't think anyone can hate on that moment. The video is epic. I love hearing these two on a song, just not the fact that they're together, but they're bragging about money. Jay hitting all his billions, being an angel investor. Nas bragging about Coinbase and cryptocurrency. You guys know I love the money talk.
Crypto raps.
Crypto raps. So I loved that moment. I'll get to the rest of the album after we hear Low Key's thoughts on this.
You know, I liked certain things about the rollout. I like the fact that he saved the track list and the actual announcement of the album, you know, so late in the game. So I can appreciate that because the shock value was a little bit higher because we saw the features, we saw the songs. You know, Jay and Nas did what they were supposed to do. It's a good track, good video, directed by Hype Williams. That was cool. That was a nice moment. But I guess that's pretty much all I have that, you know, I liked about the album. You know, some of the samples that they used weren't, you know, my favorite. The Migos and h.e.r. record, they tried to flip the Shorty Low and Welcome to Jam Rock sample, which was not a good attempt at all. I didn't like the Post Malone record. Wasn't really for me. The intro with Lil Wayne where they reused the Heart of the City sample, pretty dope. I like the Justin Bieber and 21 Savage record, and I like the h.e.r. and Meek Mill record. Outside of that, like, you know, the desk said, I was pretty underwhelmed.
I like the Reggae Legends record on there. I like the Justin Timberlake. I found myself in the car. At first, the Shorty Low sample with h.e.r. and Migos, it hit me. It was like, yo, where's this going? Mm-hmm. But I let it rock. Mm-hmm. And I ain't gonna lie. I like it now. I let it rock because I was like, yo, this is a lot going on. But I let it rock, and I end up liking it. And I like the Lil Baby and the Baby record.
No,
it's crazy. That record's crazy.
I like it's Dirk and
Dirk and Lil Baby.
Dirk and Lil Baby.
Oh, yeah.
Every chance I get.
Every chance I
Lil
get.
Baby and Dirk. That's the joint.
Yeah, I wasn't mad at the h.e.r. and Migos record just because it had that sort of little reggae pocket. I feel like hers sort of stepped into that lane. She had the track with Skip Marley, which is really dope. And then her single, I can't remember the title, is also kind of that reggae vibe. So it makes sense. And then Takeoff is the first Migo we hear on the track, which is really funny to me. So there's some cool moments. I like that he tried to create some dope moments like Bieber and 21 Savage. But yeah, the Post Malone record with Megan and DaBaby, usually they're dope when they're together. But it was okay. I don't know how many songs I'm going to revisit on this project. I will say that.
Yeah, it's a #1 album right now, so it's having that impact. I think, you know, obviously Khaled is a marquee name, so it's going to get its attention. Let's see what sticks. I will say, you know, in this day and age in streaming, this type of an album is kind of like a streaming-friendly situation where these songs fit in so many different types of playlists. You know what I mean? So it's going to get a lot of that as well.
You got a good head start.
I found myself, you know, really giving time to several songs on here. Like I said, the Reggae Legends project are songs to close the album. I think the fact that he's got a #1 album and he continues to, as far as a guy that comes from radio and is a legit club DJ, taking it this far, you know, I'm biased because I work in media and around DJs. This is unprecedented. You know, he took it farther than Clue. He's taking it farther than Flex. Kodak Black, since we're talking about somebody down in Miami, Kodak Black pled guilty to first-degree assault and battery in a 2016 sexual misconduct charge, or sexual conduct kinks, in Florence County. Kodak was given 10 years to suspended, and he will serve an 18-month probation. This means that the judge in this case delayed the actual serving of the sentence to allow Kodak to perform a probation period where if Kodak does not break the law during this period and fulfills the conditions of his probation, the judge will dismiss the sentence. Kodak began the sentence by tweeting, "Ain't gotta register as a sex offender or nothing. That's a play if you ask me."
Okay, just a little backstory. So was your Kodak interview in 2016? Could it have been that long ago? I don't think so. Whatever.
No, it wasn't in 2016. It was probably 2018, 2019.
This makes sense.
And for the record, he got an attitude because I said, "Hey man, we take sexual assault seriously here. And when you clear things up, we'd love to have you back so we could talk about it." Because in my mind, I didn't want him to talk about a case that was still pending. But I did want to acknowledge that as a host and a person, a media person, that women who are victims, men who are victims, people who are victims, we weren't ignoring it. We weren't just glossing over it. So but he didn't like that, and then he cursed at Laura Stiles, who's a co-host on the show, and was like, "Yo, you know what I'm saying? If I don't like these questions, then you know what I'm saying, I'm just leaving." I was like, "Well, shit, then the interview's over. Like, I ain't kissing that. Like, you don't run the show."
Yeah, I remember this.
I was definitely not. It was definitely not what I wanted. But when confronted with a predicament such as that, that's usually going to be my response. And now he pled guilty, and clearly this shows that his Trump relationship is paying off down in Florida, if you ask me.
But did he get? Oh, you mean because of how the judge ruled?
He got pardoned on the last thing. Remember, he got pardoned on the last thing and got let out. The lawyer that he used and has been using for that, I think, is a big Trump donor, right? And he's definitely Kodak's made some different donations. And I think even posed, and posed with a Trump grill or something. He did something on social. I don't know what it is, but there's definitely a former president, Donald Trump, alignment here that's paying off. And which is why I said, why he said, "That's a play if you ask me."
Yeah,
you know what I mean? He pled guilty. He doesn't have to register. Like, this was all a part of him cleaning it up.
The reaction is definitely lame. I mean, I was just asking about the time because I do remember all your clip, that interview trending, and then you and I sat down and discussed it. I think at the time it was still Beats. We sat down and talked about it, about people's reaction and your stance and why you wanted to ask those questions. So that's why. I'm not sure how the larger media or fans are going to react to this, but him tweeting that he doesn't have to register as a sex offender, it just doesn't sound remorseful. You didn't need to tweet that. You could have just stayed silent. People would have read the headlines and then moved on. But I guess that's what you come to expect from Kodak. He's a little bit crass quite often.
That seemed kind of insensitive. That seemed kind of just dismissive. Like, we didn't need to hear that. We didn't need you to make a joke, or that's a play if you ask me. It could be like, all right, I'm moving on to better things, or I'm gonna start changing some things up, like a remorseful tweet or a remorseful thought. Like that's just that doesn't. I mean, none of this sits right with me regardless, but just to add the cherry on top, that's just kind of whack. So
now in this case, it should be pointed out that it's not a rape charge. It is a sexual misconduct charge, where he was trying to make out with a woman, and she's saying no, and he bit her on the neck and bit her on the breast. But in the case that I read, it didn't say it was rape. So I think it's important for people to understand that, there are levels to this, I guess is what I wanted to point out. Not clearing it, not saying it's okay, but there are levels.
Yeah, I mean, sexual misconduct is still sexual misconduct, whether you're charged or not. You're forcing yourself on a young lady, for your pleasure. It's still, regardless if it's, if you bitch somebody, if you're pushing yourself on somebody, it's still unacceptable. And to add that rhetoric, after you're cleared or whatever the case is, it lets everybody know that you didn't take it serious, you didn't give a fuck about it, and now you got scot-free. So.
Right, lets your younger fans know that it's not something that they have to care about or take seriously, right. Which is the scariest part.
But listen, all rappers, not the same. Young Thug and Gunna, they went to Atlanta's Fulton County Jail. I love this story. Now, if you know anything about city jails and county jails, there's a lot of people in those jails that are waiting for their charges. They've been arrested for something, but they have not been charged. But because they can't afford to post bail, they sit in these county jails. And so a lot of times people confuse and conflate this because they think that, you know, they don't understand bail. And cash bail is kind of a racket because it really affects poor people. Because if you got money, right, you can be out free moving around until your court date. Right? If the judge sets a bail, if they don't set a bail because they think you're a flight risk or whatever, then that's a whole other thing. But many people have bail for petty crimes. And so Young Thug, there was a story done down in Atlanta. Atlanta's Channel 2 got an exclusive look inside Fulton County Jail, where at the time there was 2,900 inmates, 400 over capacity. Young Thug and Gunna went there and posted bonds for the inmates, took them home, gave them a meal, reconnected them with their families, and were apparently shooting a music video. So everybody that, got, into this situation, got hooked up with this situation, also are going to be featured in a new music video, which I'm assuming is from Slime Language too. So, Lo, you have more info?
No, I think that the song is called Pay to Fine. Pay to Fine, I think that's what the song in reference to this music video. But no, everything you laid out is pretty much public knowledge. Seeing those two who come from that city, that's just a big thing to do. Music video or not, that's a big, huge thing to do. Because they come from those towns, they come from those situations, they come from those troubled areas, and now you have them at the height of their careers going back to that township, not even just to the city, but just going back to that specific jail and bringing all those people out. Because, like you said, sitting on those cases can sit for a long time.
They got people in Rikers Island here in New York, been in there 3-4 years waiting for charges.
Yeah, waiting for charges. So
which is so crazy.
Yeah, the fact that these two did that, it speaks volumes to their character and it speaks volumes to their legacy. And it's just, when I saw it, I was tuned in heavy. So I'd love to see it.
We need more of that. I think we all know that the justice system is broken, but if you do a little deep dive on this, on a number of people like Ebro was pointing out who sit around waiting just because they can't afford to get out on bail is crazy. Sometimes it's minors too, and sometimes they end up in really violent, very dangerous situations when they didn't need to be there in the first place. So love to see artists, coming from those situations, like you said, and giving back to the community and helping out. I think small efforts like this really, really go a long way. And you would hope that at some point, maybe under Biden, this will finally happen, where there's some kind of reform, where there's some other option. It's not just putting up money you don't have from minor offense. So people aren't sitting in there for months and years at a time.
Putting these kind of situations alongside your album, this is the kind I like to see this kind of promo.
Shout to Young Thug and Gunna. Over the weekend, Black Rob was laid to rest at Harlem's Methodist Baptist Church. And among those in attendance, Diddy. Now, what's great about this is, remember, Diddy was catching all the internet heat for Black Rob's passing and Black Rob not having money. And, Diddy is, people blaming Diddy for bad record deals, et cetera, et cetera. But Diddy was welcomed with open arms at this service. Not only that, one of Black Rob's close friends, while getting up to say a few words, defended Diddy and put a spotlight on Diddy, saying Black Rob got lots of money and Black Rob blew through a lot of the money, and giving Diddy props. How does that make you feel, Nadeska? Because we hear so much negative about Diddy.
So negative. It's crazy that it got to the point where he felt like at a funeral he needed to address that. I'm sure Diddy probably felt maybe a little relieved in the moment that someone was clearing his name, but also how awkward and uncomfortable do you think he must have felt that really had to be a topic? But it goes back to what we were saying. We know that, Diddy's signed some rough contracts, but that happens with every executive in the industry. And now we know the truth that he has been helping out and he has been reaching out, which we've heard before. And you can't control what a person does with their money and with their finances, right? You can't. That's not something that's in your power. So I'm glad it was cleared up, but unfortunate that had to even be a topic at the funeral. But that's how much opinions matter, I guess, when people get too loud.
I mean, I guess
Twitter got something to say.
The message was pure, but the timing was off. We didn't need to know that Black Rob blew through all the money. We didn't need to know that Puff was even there. We didn't need to know all that stuff. Puff was there. Puff made sure that You know, he felt his presence was needed. He wanted to send his friend off the best way he could, but I understand where the message was coming from. That he was catching heat from every angle in regards to the situation and in regards to contracts with his former artists. So I get that, but at the same time, there's a time and place for everything. His family didn't need to hear that he blew through so much money. His family didn't need to hear, you know, it wasn't about Diddy. That day was about Black Rob.
Predictions, man. May 8th, this Saturday, SWV versus Xscape. Let's start with Nadeska. Who do you got being victorious? Because even if it's not a versus battle, when we come back and recap, we gonna make it a battle. It could be a love fest. They could be up there singing.
Didn't want a battle. Can
now
you?
You want to make your mind up, brother. What you want, legacy or beef? What is it, man? Jesus.
All I've ever said was I supported the artist wanting it to be a celebration of music.
And there was
That's all I've ever said.
Nothing wrong with that. But don't try to come back and double down like, yeah, if it's beef or it's not. First off, we're not going to put the ladies against each other because that's always been a common argument in the hip hop.
Oh, now because they ladies, you don't want them to go against each other.
I'm just saying, like, listen.
Also because it's R&B.
Yeah,
like, come on. Does anyone want some classic throwback R&B beats?
R&B can't be competitive.
Listen.
Yo, man, I remember when Carrie Hilson and Beyonce was going at
First
it.
off,
Was that really a battle, though?
That was one-sided. That was Carrie Hilson
Exactly,
fighting.
that was no battle. Somebody got demolished, and that was the end of the story. Yikes.
I remember Brandy and Monica had beef records.
Low key, since you still make the cheat sheet playlist,
Listen.
maybe you give us your opinion on this love fest, not battle that we're about to see.
I think it's going to be a beautiful time. I think the ladies, I love when these battles are catered to the ladies, you know, just the ladies fans. I love to see the ladies get excited, you know, when Brandy and Monica went against each other, Keisha Cole and Ashanti went against each other. Like, the ladies were waiting for this, and I think this is one of those battles where the ladies are going to have their little watch parties and just revisit so many of these old songs from the early 90s. Like, both of their catalogs go deep. It's just going to be, I think this is going to be a love fest. This is where all the love and emotion is going to come out. SWV's catalog, personally, my favorite out of the two, so I'm rooting for them. I think SWV is going to be the victor in this situation. But again, I think this is going to be a legacy love fest, and the ladies are going to have fun with it, and that's what I'm here to see.
H.e.r, are you going to watch this with your lady? Is this going to be a date night?
Of course. Well, I'm really close to this, very, very close to this, because when SWV, when I was like 14, 15 years old, my friend wrote and produced that first album. So I was in the studio when they was recording it.
Nice.
So I'm really close to that first album. And then Xscape, this girl I used to date was actually the makeup artist for Xscape back in the day when they was touring around and popping. So I know Tiny and all of them really well, and my girl Candy. So me and Candy is cool. So I'm all in, man. I'm close to this. I'm gonna be right there.
Messy, man. You messy.
That was some real industry tie-in. I was dating the makeup artist.
And then my best friend wrote the album, so I'm in the studio. And,
I'm close to this, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm close to this. Don't hate.
You don't
man.
want any beef then.
I'm close
so
to
you're,
it.
you're
No, I do.
You don't
I
want no
want
problems.
SWV to smoke them. Yo, Candy, I love you. Y'all getting smoked by SWV. I'm just more dynamic than you guys. That's all it is.
You're right. Yeah, of course.
It's been the Rap Life Review with my one-dimensional friends, Nadeska and Lo.
The disrespect.
We are here every week. All right, and y'all can subscribe by adding this on your channel, and you can add the Rap Life playlist to your phone so when it gets updated. Love y'all. Nadeska, get some sunshine, and Lo, walk to the bodega. You know what I'm saying? Wherever you at.